Did you know that some of the most infamous unsolved crimes have supernatural elements tied to them? From ghost sightings to bizarre rituals, these cases have baffled investigators for decades. In this video, we're going to dive into the top 5 true crimes with supernatural elements that will leave you wondering about the nature of this universe of ours. And the scariest part? They're all based on real events. But before we get started, I want to warn you that some of the details will be disturbing to some, so viewer discretion is advised. With that said, let's get into the top 5 true crimes with supernatural elements that will keep you wondering in the small dark hours of the night. First on our list is the infamous Villisca Axe Murder House. Located in Villisca, Iowa, this house has been a hotspot of paranormal activity since the early 1900s. On June 10, 1912, the Moore family, Josiah, his wife Sarah, their 4 children and 2 guests were found brutally murdered with no signs of forced entry or struggle. The crime scene was a bloodbath, with axe wounds so savage that doctors estimated the killer swung the axe over 30 times, primarily targeting the heads of the victims. Josiah's face was so mutilated that he was almost unrecognizable. The axe was found leaning against a wall in the downstairs guest room, and bizarrely the killer covered the victims' heads with bedclothes or pieces of clothing and left a slab of uncooked bacon next to the axe, suggesting something ritualistic in nature. Despite being a major investigation, the killer was never caught. Over the years, suspects included Reverend George Kelly, who was acquitted despite confessing, and State Senator Frank Jones, rumoured to have a grudge against Josiah. However, no one was ever convicted and the case remains unsolved. So where is the supernatural elements to this, you may ask? Well, firstly, there was a lot of suspicion that the Reverend George Kelly was in fact perfectly possessed. A state of possession so severe that the person has engaged in a demonic pact with Satan and permanently turned away from God. It differs from partial possession, the most common type of possession, in that the possessed person will not display any outward signs. That is restricted to partial possession, where the soul actively struggles against the possession and has not willingly accepted it, as is the case with perfect possession. Almost all cases of perfect possession end in murder and/or suicide. In addition, to this day, the house where the murders took place remains a hotspot for ghost sightings and unexplained occurrences. Visitors have reported seeing the ghosts of the Moore children as well as hearing strange noises and whispers. Some have even captured apparitions on thermal cameras. Investigators from paranormal TV shows, such as Ghost Adventures, have also recorded sudden drops in temperature and disembodied voices. The Villisca Axe Murder House still stands today, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks within humanity. And if you're feeling brave, you can even take a tour of the house if you're in the Iowa area. But be warned, you might not make it out unscathed. Second on our list is the Betty and Barney Hill kidnappings by aliens. On the night of September 19, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill were driving home from a vacation in Niagara Falls when they had their life-changing encounter. Traveling through a desolate stretch of US Route 3 in New Hampshire, the Hills noticed a bright light in the sky that seemed to be following them. Eventually, the object descended rapidly, forcing them to stop their car. Barney left the car to get a better look and saw humanoid figures in the craft, wearing black uniforms. Feeling immense fear, the couple rushed to drive away, but soon after experienced missing time, unable to account for nearly 2 hours of their journey. What makes their story particularly chilling is the evidence they provided to back it up. Betty began having disturbing dreams about being led aboard the ship, subjected to medical experiments by beings with large wraparound eyes. Under hypnosis, both Betty and Barney described similar events, despite having no memory of them prior to the hypnosis sessions. Their hypnotist, Dr. Benjamin Simon, was initially skeptical, but could not explain their matching accounts. Further evidence includes Betty's star map, which she recalled under hypnosis and claimed showed the aliens' home star system, later identified as Zeta Reticuli. The Hills encounter remains one of the most famous alien kidnapping cases, sparking debates about the existence of extraterrestrial life. Their case was investigated by both the Air Force as part of Project Blue Book and independent researchers, making it one of the best documented abduction cases. I believe this case counts as supernatural given the strong links that exist between aliens and the demonic. And if you are interested in more on that topic, I highly recommended the video by the Catholic Vine channel, which covers these links in detail. I will leave a link to the video in the end screen cards. Third on our list is the LaLaurie Mansion case. In the French Quarter of New Orleans, the LaLaurie Mansion, built in 1832, was home to Madame Delphine LaLaurie, a wealthy socialite who entertained the city's elite. But in 1834, Her dark secret was revealed after a kitchen fire broke out, leading to the discovery of her torture chamber in the attic. What rescuers found was beyond anything they could have imagined. Slaves were mutilated, with their bones broken and reset in twisted positions. Others had their mouths sewn shut, and bodies were pierced with sharp objects. These horrific experiments shocked the city, and a mob eventually ransacked the mansion, forcing Madame Lalaurie to flee to Paris, where she lived until her death. What makes this case truly supernatural is the series of hauntings that followed. The mansion was rebuilt in the late 1800s, and over the decades, it became notorious for paranormal activity. Neighbours have reported hearing screams at night, while visitors have claimed to see the ghosts of tortured slaves and even Madame Lalaurie herself. The mansion was also investigated by paranormal teams, some of whom reported extreme temperature changes, objects moving on their own, and unexplained shadows. Many speculate that Madame Lalaurie's cruelty may have summoned something darker, leaving the mansion cursed and haunted to this day. Fourth on our list is the infamous Borley Rectory. Borley Rectory in Essex, England, was built in 1862 on the site of an old monastery and became infamous for its paranormal activity. One of the earliest reported sightings was that of a ghostly nun, said to wander the grounds of the rectory. Legend claims she was a novice nun who fell in love with a monk, and they both tried to elope, but they were caught, and she was bricked up alive inside the walls of the convent. What makes this case particularly compelling is the sheer amount of paranormal evidence gathered over the years. In 1929, the Daily Mirror sent a very well-known paranormal researcher, Harry Price, to investigate. Price reported hearing phantom footsteps, seeing strange lights, and even conducting séances where spirits allegedly communicated with him. One of the most terrifying incidents occurred in 1939, when the rectory unexplainedly caught fire, and witnesses reported seeing a figure standing in the flames, untouched by the heat. Investigations of the burned site uncovered human remains, believed to belong to the legendary nun, strengthening the theory that her spirit haunted the property. Price also captured photographs showing ghostly figures, including a blurry image of what appears to be a woman in a long dress standing in the shadows of the ruins. Paranormal investigators still debate whether Borley Rectory was truly haunted or a case of collective hysteria. But the weight of evidence continues to make it one of the most famous hauntings in the world. Last but not least on our list, we have the Cecil Hotel. Opened in 1927, the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles has a reputation as one of the city's most sinister locations. Over the years, it has been the site of multiple suicides, murders, and mysterious disappearances, earning it the nickname the Suicide Hotel. Perhaps the most famous case linked to the Cecil Hotel is the 2013 death of Elisa Lam. Her behaviour, captured on elevator surveillance footage, has baffled investigators. She appears to press multiple buttons, hide in the corner, and talk to an unseen entity, before her body was found in a water tank on the hotel's roof, a location that required multiple security checks to access. The official ruling was accidental drowning, but many suspect foul play or even supernatural forces due to the bizarre circumstances. The Cecil Hotel has also been home to several infamous serial killers, such as Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and a confessed Satanist in the mid-1980s. Ramirez was known to prowl the streets of LA, killing at random for his master Satan. And after some murders, he would return to the hotel, dispose of his bloody clothes in the dumpster, and walk back into the hotel naked. His stay there, along with other violent crimes, has led many to believe that the hotel is cursed, or a magnet for evil forces. Guests and investigators at the Cecil Hotel have reported seeing shadowy figures, hearing disembodied voices, and experiencing strange feelings of dread when staying in certain rooms. One room, room 64, is said to be particularly active, with reports of guests feeling watched and objects moving on their own. You can still stay at the Cecil Hotel, but now it is not so glamorous, as it has 30% plus of its rooms reserved for homeless people using government-funded housing vouchers. So as we end our short journey through the top 5 true crimes with supernatural links, one thing is certain: the truth is out there, but it may not always be what we would like or expect. These cases have shown us that the supernatural can be found in the most unlikely places, and that sometimes the most inexplicable events can cause most terrifying supernatural experiences of all. So, what do you think is the most perplexing aspect of these supernatural crimes? Do you believe that the supernatural exists, or is it simply a product of our imagination? Let us know in the comments below. If you would like to support our work, you can find a link to our Patreon in the video description. If you become a paid Patreon subscriber, you will also get access to our TV and movie reactions, which include Das Boot, X-Movie, Band of Brothers, and many more. And if that wasn't enough, 50% of all Patreon proceeds will be donated to charities, including the St. Vincent de Paul Society, which assists the poor, the Capuchin Day Centre, who feed the homeless and aid to the church in need, who assist persecuted Christians around the world. Receipts for all donations will be posted on Patreon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and to check out some of our other videos, such as Ireland's Top 10 UFO Encounters, Ireland's Most Terrifying Poltergeist Case, the links between Ireland's Tuatha De Danann, the Fae folk of Ireland, and ancient aliens, or how about the stories of the members of the infamous Hellfire Club of Dublin. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. Until next time, God bless you, God bless your families, and bye for now.